If you take your inner critic very, very serious, and whatever you will say, we're leaning into judgment. You are judging yourself. The inner critic is judging you. Then you get tired of it at some point. You're judging other people.
The voice of the leader, it's pretty confident. It's someone who walked the path, who found a way out. You come back and you share the story that, hey, I've been there. I found something. I would like to invite you to follow me.
The persona that we polish on social media or in smaller groups of people, this is really what we want others to see us as. Because you're meeting now the authentic self, this person that has a deep inner diversity, that has really opposing energies, the male energy, the female energy, the introverted, the extroverted. So we are made out of all these beautiful energies.
You just send this energy, you direct this energy to someone, and then you go like it never happened. What is the value, what is the meaning, and what is the impact? Do you have any thoughts about this?
I'm very excited to be here with you.
Likewise, thank you so much for joining. And this is officially very first podcast, and this is so exciting. How about we share a little bit how we know each other, because I feel it's a very important part of the story, and this is how we introduce the topic that we would like to talk about.
Yes. I feel like I've known you for a very long time. When I first met you, you entered the room, and it was in this beautiful space that we're in right now, the Kin in Venice. And it's been a really beautiful space for community for me. I come here often, and I've met many people, and I met you at a public speaking class.
Public speaking class.
Yes. That I joined very hesitantly because I'm an introvert, and public speaking doesn't come natural to me, but I was very curious how I would, find myself in that environment. And then you walked into the door and I was like, oh, I know this woman. And then we started talking, and I feel there was so much beautiful alignment between us, and made a lot of sense that synchronistically made a lot of sense that we were in the same class in this moment in time.
It's so true. I came to LA for 2 weeks. For some reason, I'm still here 1 month and a half later. And public speaking class, something that was absolutely not planned. And I just came. It was one last spot available, and I felt that this is mine, and I just took it and I stayed. And yesterday it was our last session. This has been such a beautiful journey, and here we are recording this podcast, something that I wanted to do for quite some time. And it's so easy to do it, right? You just go, you book a studio, and you sit and talk. That thing that I love doing the most. Just give me an interesting human being who has a story to share, and we're just gonna talk. That's it. It's so easy, it's so joyful, right? It's exciting. But for some reason, I'm doing it only now. And I know that for you, it's also one of your first experiences, right? So we pretty much invited each other to do it together. And today I would like to dive deeper, and I would like to invite all of you who are watching this podcast to contemplate with us. And I would like for us to explore what is the power of our voice. How do we use it? What stories we're sharing, especially right now on social media, on YouTube, and what seeds we're planting. And I'm just going to say a few words about me in case if you don't know me. My name is Christina Margolin. I'm a karmic numerologist, and today I would like to share more with you the wisdom of the numbers that we have in the date of our birth. And these numbers show us the direction of who we are, our blueprint, our personalities, our talents, our gifts. But today specifically, I would like to share a certain codes and the meaning that stand behind them when it comes to voice expression, because every single number has a very particular personality of the voice. And this is what I would like to offer to all of us who's going to watch this podcast.
Yes,
Can
I'm
you
very
share a little bit of-
intrigued. Yes. I love this. For me, it was so exciting to meet you because I come from a universe of the unconscious. My journey to find my voice started when I studied psychology here in Santa Barbara in a beautiful institute, the Pacifica Graduate Institute. And this vast and creative and fascinating, mysterious universe of the unconscious opened up to me when I was training as a therapist and getting acquainted with the beautiful wisdom of C.G. Jung, one of the godfathers of psychology, Joseph Campbell, James Hillman, Marion Woodman, all these beautiful universes of thinkers and explorers of the psyche. And so I dove deep into really a space of the unknown. It kind of feels often also like a space without time and without measurement. And when I sit with my clients, we really drop in and we enter this other space. And then when I met you, I was like, oh, it's so interesting. You were like, oh, numbers, it's all about numbers for me. And I was so curious about it. And then the more we were speaking to each other, I felt that we are talking really about the same field that humans find themselves in. It's maybe a field that can be mystical. It's a field that has different languages. We all have a different language to express it. But there was so much alignment about how we were talking about the human condition, how humans perceive themselves, how humans are on a journey to find their voice, and how we also in constellation with each other in these alchemical codes that are quite organic from your perspective, because I also feel you have a very, very specific perspective on numerology that holds the tension of something very earthly, very connected to the divine feminine. You call it the mother often.
Yeah.
And so I'm very curious to learn more. Even knowing you for a really short time has really helped me to find my voice. Also, this beautiful community of this class that started like a public speaking class and has become a community of many voices and a beautiful choir of voices. So I'm excited to dive deeper into your universe today.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm very excited too. Before we dive deeper, I would like to say something, and this is very important. For many years in my life, I was silent. I didn't really use my voice, and I was very uncomfortable to share what I feel, to share my observations, my emotions. And of course, it has a reason. It comes from my childhood, certain traditions that I needed to respect. But the idea is that for many years, I was silent. I was scared to be in front of the camera. I was scared to be in front of people speaking. It was the scariest thing to do. But I'm so grateful to my father, because, by the way, he's one of the best public speakers that apparently I met in my life. And he was the one who always invited me to raise a toast when we were celebrating like big, events, birthdays. Oh my God, it was so scary to me, little baby. I didn't know what to say. And I felt this extra pressure that everyone is looking at me. And I knew that I needed to say something that makes sense, something that is very emotional, something that will show that, well, I'm such a good daughter to my parents, right? So that put this extra pressure on me. And I guess it helped me to realize that everything that I say, everything that I share, actually is not just a random words. It's not just something that you purge, right? You just send this energy, you direct this energy to someone, and then you go like it never happened. And this is what I would like to dive as deeper, to contemplate and really observe. What are we saying? How are we sharing? What is it that we say to each other? What is it that we share with thousands of people who are going to watch these podcasts or just the reels that we post, right? What is the value? What is the meaning? And what is the impact? Do you have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, I work as a coach in Los Angeles. So people come to me and they are exploring the relationship with themselves or others, or the relationship they have in their work. And they often describe a lot of anxiety. Even very, very successful people, CEOs of big companies, they will have a lot of anxiety when it comes to speaking out in meetings, in public, and we explored that a little bit in the class, right? That there is this very, very old anxiety around when I speak up in front of a group, how will they see me? Because normally we are moving very carefully in social groups and in communities because we want to be accepted, we want to be heard and seen, because then we know when we thrive and when we develop our voice, the whole community thrives and develops, you know. So it's a bi-directional growth of each other, but it's, you know, at times very nerve-wracking when you are speaking out in front of the others, because the persona that we polish on social media or in smaller groups of people, you know, this is really what we want others to see us as, right? And we can polish it quite well. Sometimes you look at an Instagram, then you meet a person in real life and you're like, oh, these people have not so much in common at all, right? Because you're meeting now the authentic self, this person that has a deep inner diversity, that has really opposing energies, the male energy, the female energy, the introverted, the extroverted. So we are made out of all these beautiful energies, and certain energies come out when we speak in public. So when I work with clients, you know, I'm trying to find the part that shows up when we speak. And for me personally, and I found that in a lot of my clients, that there's the inner critic. So the inner critic, right, is a part that we have a very split relationship with. We all know it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have.
We know
yours.
how it sounds. That voice, that even I hear right now, I'm not going to lie.
Yes, they are here. They're sitting here. Your
They're
inner
sitting
critic,
with
my
us.
inner critic. For me, it's a bunch of old German ladies that are knitting. They're always behind me, and they're like, what you're sharing is really not that special. You have to do better. So whoever our inner critic is, or the choir of our ancestral voices, sometimes it goes really deep. We bring them when we come into community, and they sometimes put a lot of pressure on us. And why it's so tricky to negotiate and befriend your inner critic is that on one hand, they have provided safety for us. They have driven us, you know, all of our ancestors that come with the inner critic is they're taking care that we are safe and that we have financial stability, for example. So now if we want to explore and express ourselves and move into all the diverse energies, the inner critic will come up and be like, be careful. Don't say anything wrong, and also do a good job, and also impress the father. The father can then appear in shape of the professor if we're studying the people you would like to express. The father archetype is very present when we try to find our voice, because when we get the recognition of our father, then we can really, really connect with our authentic self, because we feel we're being seen by our father, by our mother. That's why this inner critic is such a trickster, right? He can guide us to success, but he can also make us quite nervous and insecure.
Thank you so much for sharing this, because this is exactly how my inner critic feels like. It's my inner father that a part of me still wants to impress, right? And this inner father shows up in a form of people who are watching. So I need to be that professional Christina that speaks in a very particular way, just exactly what I'm doing right now, right? That you can hear it, and I can hear it too. And this is very interesting to observe. But here's what I would like to say that comes from karmic numerology, right? Something that I learned. So, and here's something for everyone that I would like to offer. And here we have these cards that we're gonna play. We're gonna play because we have so many different tonalities when it comes to voice and expression. And we can keep it at a certain one archetype, how we express each other. I mean, it may sound amazing. At the same time, it can be very boring, right? This is exactly what we learn at our public speaking class, that in order for conversation to be more melodic, we need to tap into different tonalities, or like different archetypes, right? If we use the idea of archetypes. So we all have different archetypes that are more common to us, or how we express our voice in different forms. When we speak, when we communicate, when we record a video, when we record a podcast. So here's a very simple formula. What is your date of birth?
The 18th of June.
So the 18th. My date of birth is 16. So here's what we do. We take the day of our birth. Your case, it's 18. My case, 16. And we put these numbers together. We sum them up until we receive one-digit number. 1 plus 8, 9. 1 plus 6, 7. If any of you have number 7, you were born on the 7th, then it's just number 7. So this number represents your inner child voice. It's that very first expression. It's the tone, how your soul wants to speak. After that, we have other tonalities, other archetypes, and this is a different type of calculations. But this one, it's such a fundamental one. So for example, if someone has code number 1, you were born on the 1st, on the 10th, 19th, any month. It means that the way you express yourself, or you may express yourself if you wish, it's the archetype of the leader. So the voice of the leader, it's pretty confident. It's someone who walked the path, who found a way out. You come back and you share the story that, hey, I've been there. I found something. I would like to invite you to follow me. So code number 1, they express themselves in a very confident, very direct, clear way. It's not really blah, 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 blah. No. Number 2, it's the energy of the moon. It's all about harmony. The women who have this code, they have this beautiful presence and their voice is more soft. It's like you're bridging. It's like you're giving a hug. You know, it's that vibration. And it's so cozy and so beautiful, right? If we would want to speak about something more feminine, or we would drink cacao now, perhaps this is the tone that I would use. Right? Not really code 1 as a leader. Number 3 is just the performers, people who are meant to be on stage, storytellers. And they usually express themselves like, hey, I have a story to share. And they make it as a beautiful series of episodes that you just want to watch because it's so incredibly fun, exciting, and you just live whatever they say. And they're very expressive and they're very bright and just beautiful. Right? Number 4, it's all about structure. It's about breaking things into these little steps. It's methodology. It's not La La Land. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 result. And it's beautiful because if you would want to have a coach or someone who can help you to create methodology or explain something, break something that is more complex into simplicity, number 4 code is they're so talented because they can bring things down to earth. They're really not blah, 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 blah.
You want them on your team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 5, free spirit, can be a little bit chaotic, but at the same time, it's the archetype of the teacher. They can break something that is very complex into simplicity. Great teacher, high IQ. They have a very strong throat chakra. Beautiful communicators. Our teacher, he has code 5 in his date of birth. That's why he's so good at what he's doing. Number 6, poets. It's soft, poetic energy. It's artists, musicians. They express their beauty with just how they look. It's this all little details that tell the story. This is code 6. Beautiful energy, very sexual energy. Number 7, mystics. They speak in a way like, have you ever thought about why are we here on this planet? They always contemplate life. So they speak with questions. They have no answers, but they just start asking questions. And these questions, they invite other people to go deeper. And it's like, hey, really, what am I doing here? What is my purpose in life? Right?
Beautiful.
That's code 7. 8, CEO people, power. Commanders, beautiful energy when it comes to business. Amazing, very, very talented spreadsheet people. Everything needs to make sense. Otherwise, what's the point? And number 9, this is your code. Wisdom, the divine wisdom. It's the archetype of the guru. Can we talk about humanity? Can we talk about what are we doing for people? It's something that we call humanitarians. So when number 9 shares their wisdom, it has a lot of wisdom, and sometimes they can see things that other people cannot. They have a vision. This is their power. Sometimes they speak simply with their essence, with the aura, just who they are. And quite often they don't really speak. They're just being silent. They're observing, they're listening, and they just add a little bit here, a little bit there. But usually it's so deep. Every single word, it's just so deep. This is code 9.
It's so fascinating when you speak, because obviously with every number, there's a resonance and there is a comparison. It's like, how much of this do I identify with, or how much of this do I recognize in the people around me? Would you say, if I'm code 9, that this is kind of the core of my essence, and then the other codes, are they also part of me? Like, is there a fluidity in it, or how do I
Absolutely.
identify with such
Absolutely.
a reading? I mean, not that I don't like mine. I think it sounds pretty divine to me.
It's beautiful, right?
Yes, but that would be interesting, because I do see that from the prism of psychology. The way I conceptualize, someone who comes to me is that they are a fluid being, right? They might be in a phase in their lives where they are maybe in an anxious attached relationship, where their anxious attachment comes out a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that they're not also avoidant. And in a different constellation, they would become leaning more into the avoidant. Maybe they're more extroverted in the moment, maybe some introversion, but I always see it as this fluid, beautiful constellation that also changes depending on the friends we have, the people that we're in relationship with. Is it the same for codes?
So, for example, right now, we are sharing your code 9 and my code 7. Your code 9 and code 7, they create a certain frequency together. It creates another code, which is 9 plus 7, which is 16, which is 1 plus 6, 7. Which means that we keep asking questions. We're contemplating. We have no answers. I have no idea how this podcast is going to go. We kind of like put the direction, but with code 7, it's just you go, you start somewhere, and you will end it up exactly where you need to end up.
You flow. And this is how I felt from the beginning. So this makes a lot of sense that our 7 is really resonating with each other, because when you started talking about how to find your voice, just to circle back a little bit, I was thinking, finding my voice and where my journey began was like asking more questions, because I was a writer and filmmaker in my first profession, and it was all about telling stories, right? I think I was leaning, is it number 3, the storyteller?
Storytelling number 3. Yeah.
And I was really like in a time in my life where I thought, I have to perform, I have to tell the most fascinating story, right? I'm convincing all these people to create a film around this story. So I did feel, even though I was much more, I would say, in my more narcissistic, performative energy, extroverted energy, not as connected to myself as I am now, in a phase of my life where I started asking questions, and I started asking questions around psychology and the human condition and communication. And when I started my studies, it was actually really beautiful. We were introduced to active listening. And for me, that was very new, because I thought I just have to talk all the time. And they were like, no, you actually sit here and you're going to listen to what someone is telling you. And you're going to listen with your whole body, with your heart, with your soul, and sit here and just resonate. And this is all you need to do, is really, really listen. And it was quite new to me, but probably the most beautiful gift you could give me, because the journey to find my voice was really to get insight on wisdom, get insight on other people's wisdom, and just sit and absorb and read and study. And so that was, I think, the first chapter for me, finding my voice, was really listening to other voices.
Which is fundamental for code 9. In order for code 9 to really understand what is happening and have this big vision, first they need to see what people talk about. Because I feel that everything that we put on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, things that are going viral, does it mean that they have a lot of weight? Like the message is so fundamental in a way that it can really shift us as human beings and elevate us? Not always. Does it mean that these posts or videos that beautiful and creative people are sharing are not good enough? No, absolutely not. Things that are going viral, perhaps, are the ones that just reflect the evolutional state of what we as a collective are more drawn to. So, what I would like to share and offer to all of us to contemplate is that I don't feel that we need to value the importance of our message that we're sharing, especially when it comes to social media, based on likes or shares. It's not really the indicator. Because if this message and change something, it's worth it. That one view, it's good enough. Or 10 or 20 million, or doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, that brings us back to constellation. I think what's really, really interesting and what's important to remember for us as humans now in the age of social media is that we always, as humans, created a tribe, a community, because this is our best chance of survival and thriving and living a fulfilled life. And in these communities, we would always find people in a really beautiful constellation. There was never just the leader, right? There was never just the medicine man. You could never find a community of humans where there's like 80 medicine men and they live together. But there would be the person that knows about herbs and medicine, the one that knows about ritual, the one that was wise, the one that was young, the warrior. So we had all this diversity in our communities, and we still do. So this might show up, in codes, but it might also show up on social media, as there is different ways to use your voice. And some people will use the resonance of humor. Other people will use the resonance of wisdom. Other people will use the resonance of being a good storyteller, right? And so when we are exploring our own voice, I think it's important not to compare, because I do feel that there is our voice resonating in the world. That's one version of viral. And then there's a version of viral where something is kind of directed by an algorithm. So I think us understanding, that the algorithm is curating our lives in a certain way and feeding us information in a certain way, that is one dynamic. And then on the other hand, we have this beautiful creativity of humans that shows up online. But I feel if you want to share your message, if you want to find your own voice, just really, try it out in real life. And that's what we did, right? We met and
Absolutely.
we started talking and we couldn't stop talking. And then we're like, maybe we just record while we talk.
And we just keep talking.
And
we
hope
just
that it
keep talking.
resonates with people and that they, take away tools. When we started talking about what we want to share, you said it's just very important that we share some beautiful insights and tools. When I talk about the inner critic, it's maybe valuable for people to know, oh, you can befriend your inner critic. And when it speaks with you and, you get to know the language, you get to know what this character looks like, what do they wear, even their fashion, what do they eat. You can sit down with them before you have a talk or podcast and have a cacao, and you sit in a beautiful space and you thank them for being, present and bugging you and driving you crazy, but that they're going to sit there and have the cacao and you're going to go out and share something with people, and you kind of thank them and take care of them and develop a new relationship with your inner voices. And I think, developing a relationship with your inner voices, your inner counsel, and then also the counsel outside in your world, your teachers, the wise people, the elder people around you. This is how we kind of travel towards our voice, right?
Absolutely. I agree. It resonates with me. I really like the idea of connecting with your inner critic, because what I observed is that my inner critic, some people call it ego or inner critic, something that just keeps like, can be better. Not good enough. Not authentic enough. Here, I don't trust you. Like, overplayed. That, right?
I can feel it in my body. I feel like...
Right? I can feel it too. Like right now, it was my inner critic. Really. Like, I just like keep your face, fix your hair. Like, oh my God. This inner critic helped me to see my potential. And yeah, sometimes it can be super annoying because this inner critic can stop you from doing anything. That's why I was silent for many years, because I was afraid to make a mistake. I was afraid to say something that is not authentic, not pure, something that comes from my ego, something that is not really, smart or intelligent. That's why I was silent. I was like, I would rather be silent than just say anything to be judged, to lose my face or the image, right, that we preserve or identity so much. And then what happens is that you really don't grow. You don't experience yourself. But when you move forward and when you start collaborating with your inner critic, and then you say like, hey, I'm going to record this podcast and perhaps I'm going to watch it and I'm going to be like, oh my God, this was not really good. This could be improved. This could be improved. It's all over the place. Like structure, a little bit of structure, code 4 would be nice to have on this table. But excuse me, I don't have the code 4 in my chart. This is one of the few codes that I don't have. But still, you keep doing things. You keep exploring yourself, allowing yourself to fall and be not perfect. And what I feel is the most important thing is to be authentic with people. Because we are not perfect and we become better the more we practice. But in order for us to become better, in order for us to really embrace our voices and the story that we all have, every single of us is so incredibly unique. And I see it all the time when I read people's codes. It's like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. And you have such a beautiful mission and talents and gifts. And I'm fascinated with this beauty that we all have and how unique we are. And we just need to keep going. We need to keep sharing and know that we can evolve, of course. That's why we hear this inner critic. We can become better. We can become better when it comes to public speaking or podcast recording. Absolutely. I have no clue that we can do it better.
No doubt.
But we need to do it now. And next time it's going to get better. And guys, please, I would like to invite you to share your opinion. Which camera should I look?
This one.
All of them.
Yes.
Because I have no idea. I've never done it before. So let us know. What do you think?
Yes.
Like, what do you feel? Share your thoughts, really, because it is very valuable to us. We're all contemplating. It's not just only us two, right?
I want to add something,
Absolutely,
if I may,
please.
because something you just said opened up a space for me that I want to share. There is a lot of pressure I feel online around being authentic, being your authentic self, being a better version of yourself, right? And we are all interested in growing, and I assume everybody that is watching this is interested to explore, that is curious and wants to explore, this beautiful field that we're opening up, that maybe for some people is new, for some people it feels like they've traveled it before, and maybe this is just a new perspective that you and I are co-creating together. But when you are thinking about yourself in terms of authenticity, in terms of growth, approaching it with curiosity and creativity and playfulness, I feel is very, very helpful, because then you can befriend your inner critic by playing. If you take your inner critic very, very serious, and he's the father, and whatever you will say, and we're leaning into judgment, you are judging yourself. The inner critic is judging you. Then you get tired of it at some point. You're judging other people, right? It will seep into your inner communication and also your external communication with others. So I would say, whenever you feel a judgmental voice inside, when it comes to you growing, shut it down with curiosity and play. Let's say you wake up a morning and you feel really down on yourself, and you can turn yourself into an image. You can become water, and you can be curious by being a water flowing, just like observing and being in flow. Maybe you just want to move, or you become the dolphin, and then you become even more curious in your beautiful dolphin energy. There is no space when you connect with nature and play in the way that you see yourself. Your imagination will totally liberate you from any judgment, and you can allow yourself just to become a little bit less literal and a little bit more symbolic. That's the beauty of depth psychology and the work we do with the unconscious. If you give your psyche just images and curiosity and play, it will play. It will create worlds that you can move in, and it will allow you, just like water, to become something new, to have your feelings move through you, to reinvent yourself. And I think that is our authenticity, is acknowledging that we are part of nature, that we are the dolphin, and that we are the wave, and that we are the water. And then we're also, again, the human, but we don't get stuck in the cognitive, in the judgment, in the storytelling that is very tight in terms of we need to perform, we need to be a better version of ourselves. Because as you just described, sitting with clients, it is so sacred and so touching to see people are really this magical, beautiful human design. They are so complex. They are so creative. They are so constantly really, really curious, and also really wanting to grow and change. And it's very touching to witness this in this small space. And I'm happy that we are today opening up this space by sharing our experience, because I think that's where you will find yourself in playing, basically.
Absolutely. That's why I invite you to play. How about that? We're going to play with these cards. Okay. Here we have cards, and they have different codes of the voices, right? You guys can do it with us. So the idea is something that I wanted to add. And you asked me this question before. If we have a certain tone of the voice, does it mean that this is it? You can tap into number 3, number 4. The idea is that we need to tap into all these codes and make it a symphony, make it a melody. Just depends on the goal. Where do you want this message to land? And depends on that, you start playing with codes, right? If I'm gonna have a business meeting, I don't think that my code 7 would be a nice code to channel if I would just keep asking like, oh, but what is the meaning of the... Come on. I would have to tap into code number 1, which is the leader, right? Code number 5, which is the high IQ. Code number 4, which is the structure, discipline, methodology. So if we sit and we contemplate life, oh my God, we can go deep into 9 and 7. We would have to share a story. That would be code 3, storytelling. Something happened with me when I was 7 years old. And then number 7, a little bit of mystery. Oh my God, that's a beautiful way to channel your energy and the voice, right? So right now, I would like you to take a card and you will read the card, and it's going to be a random code that you will have to connect and just speak from that energy with us.
Okay. My inner critic is with me right now.
Okay. Just
go
for it. I'm gonna pick one too. So what do you have?
Oh my God. The code 5, the wild one.
Oh my God. You go. We need a little bit
This is very dangerous. I'm not sure.
Spiciness.
The archetype is the explorer, the rebel. The mission is speak the unexpected. Oh my God. Break a rule. Oh God. Say what hasn't been said before. Your voice is a wave. Move us out of comfort.
That's it. Go. Oh. Do you need some time to connect? You know what I usually do?
Yeah.
You just invite this energy. Exactly as you speak with your inner critic. You just take this energy and you invite it. And then you inhale it, you feel it, and then you relax. You just turn off your mind and then spill it out.
What am I talking about? What is
Just
my...
Whatever you want to say.
Whatever I want to say?
Yeah.
That's a wild card.
That's a wild one.
Well,
I guess this is what we're needing.
I'm going to tie into the symphony that you just mentioned, because it's still very alive in my imagination. Because when I work with clients, I talk about a jazz band. Sometimes it's really helpful when you see yourself as a jazz band, right? And when you go into a meeting or something and there's just like the trumpet player, and the trumpet player is just playing the trumpet the whole time, at some point people are going to be like, stop playing the bloody trumpet, right? And you want the other instruments to come in and, this beautiful symphony and balance. So I'm a big fan of balance. So one of my favorite concepts by C.G. Jung is the transcendent function. So the transcendent function is really holding the tension of the opposites. And I feel we live in a time right now that is so divided because we are really engaging with a lot of algorithms, right? On one hand, we don't know at all what an algorithm is, but we just use use them all the time. We have these apps, we have games, we have social media. And here we are, totally giving up our responsibility and agency and just using algorithms because it's just like the thing to do, right? It's like pop culture. And here we are riding the wave of the algorithm. And without really pausing for a moment and asking ourselves, hey, what am I engaging with here? And why am I starting to think in a way that is very polarized? And I see it with my clients. It's like a person will be completely divided from their family, maybe for political reasons, belief system, All of a sudden, some years ago, people started really thinking algorithmically. It's either black or it's white. But there is no more shifting the perspective, engaging in dialogue, and really creating a reality together and trying to understand, hear each other, and hear each other's voices, right? And I feel it's really time to say, we're not going to just use technological tools or algorithms without asking what they are, without shifting perspective on them, because if they don't serve us in our communication, if they don't help us to see the opposite, to understand the opinion of someone else, I think we're going to just end up in a totally polarized world. We're going to miss out on all the beauty that all the different codes, all the different archetypes, all the different opposing energies have to offer us. And we're going to miss out on a lot of wisdom. We're going to miss out on community, because we're going to move further and further away. Sorry, you provoked me. I went right in. But this is my code 5. My code 5 is really inviting people to look at technology design, observe how it influences their communication, their way of dialoguing and communicating with others. And if it doesn't serve them, I would say, move on to a different device or move into the real world, find a beautiful human that you have so much to share with, and maybe dive in there. But I definitely feel we should always hold the tension of the opposites, listen to the other side, and I'm sure we can always learn something. This is my wild.
This is beautiful. How does it feel?
Great.
Great.
This is normally not, I don't allow myself to go wild like this, but it feels great.
It feels
really
great.
Good.
You see? So when we tap into different codes and the vibration of the message and how we choose the message, right? You for some reason felt like sharing this story. It allows you to experience yourself from a different perspective, not as a code 9, but as a code 5. Right? To put something bold, something provocative, something that is going to change. Like code 5, it's about helping other people to liberate themselves. It's just like, hey, how about we just mess things up and let's just play and let's go a little bit wild here.
Yes, it felt a little bit harsh and unpolished, and I felt responsibility towards you, because I felt like, what if I'm saying something now where I'm not filtering myself? The number 9, the wise code, went for cacao. It's not here.
Code 9 is drinking cacao. It's like, oh God.
Code 9 has no
Bring me back.
responsibility. But it did feel nice, like I could let myself explore number 5. And be as honest as I feel very strongly and passionately about these things. But it definitely felt pretty unfiltered to me.
And it also felt like this code wanted to be expressed.
Yes.
Right? It's like there is a part of us, something that we want to say, but we don't allow us to say, and then we repress it. And that's why this game, it's a really nice one, because you can express yourself in a way that normally you would not allow yourself to be expressed.
It is very interesting,
Right.
because it opened up this notion of going back to finding your voice, right? Many years I have been, as a grown up, I have been trying to find the right voice where people can actually understand me, relate to me, but I'm an out of the box thinker. So I think very much outside of the box, and I feel like I'm also seeing certain things. I feel critical about certain things. I love critical thinking. So I love questioning things. I love shifting perspective on things. And sometimes I feel like it is not the right time yet, or it is not invited, or I become too much in my male energy. And we talked about that a lot, and I would love to have a whole conversation with you about this. But I feel like as a woman, when you on one hand think like a flower, which I think very flowery, and my thoughts go all over the place. And then also I have a lot of male energy, and so I have a lot of desire to really share things that can move us forward as a community and feel very outspoken about it. That has changed very much. Obviously, men and women are co-creating, systems, societies. But there is a part of me that always thought that is the role of the men, or the men are allowed to express this number 5 code. And maybe when I do it, it is not received well. That was maybe an anxiety.
I would like to say something interesting, because code 9, based on Vedic numerology, it represents Mars, the energy of the Mars. It's a lot of fire, Mars. It's very bold. It's exactly what you are saying. So number 9 can be expressed in a different way. It doesn't mean, it's also about how we perceive, like guru. I said number 9, it's the energy of guru. What does it mean, guru, to you? So if you have an image of guru who is sitting on the mountain and just meditating, then you would say like, okay, code number 9, it's just, I need to be this. But Sadhguru, he's a guru. He plays around. He makes jokes. He's dancing on the stage. Never put yourself into this little box of like, I'm code 9, I'm guru, I just need to be like that. No, it's about shaping the vision. And this is where contemplation comes in. When you invite the energy of the code and you start connecting and you start building like, okay, what does it mean to be guru? How does my guru looks like? How about I'm going to make him with a little spice of code number 5? My guru is going to be wild. How about that? Right? So, or my storytelling, which is code number 3, is going to be with a sprinkle of, I don't know, code 8, business plan, CEO, spreadsheet. We need to sell the story. Then it's going to be a different story. So it's all about play. It's just a beautiful tool to experience and really getting to know ourselves a little bit more, the deeper level.
And allowing is beautifully put. And I think allowing the different voices you carry, that it's not one voice, but it's a choir, right? It is really the symphony, the choir. It is all the codes in resonance and frequency that maybe give you the fullest voice.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pick one.
Yeah, please.
I'm stressed. I created
this code 5 situation.
This card, and I'm also kind of like, oh my goodness. Okay, how about this one? Code 4. Oh God, this is the only code that I don't have.
I love
the
it.
architect, the guide, the teacher. Teach us something. Use clear, structured speech to explain a concept or instruction. Your voice is the blueprint. God.
Oh my God, I love this so much. The wild one and the teacher. This is a great constellation. I'm holding the balance over here, so you're going to be fine.
I feel like this is something that is missing from my side in this podcast, Code 4. I feel it strongly. But okay, the guide and the teacher. So now, let me show you. Code 4, the guide and the teacher. What does it mean? It means that the way I am going to express myself, I will use this knowledge and the vision of Code 4 of how I see teacher. This is the archetype that I created of the teacher. And my teacher is a man, looks like my father, intelligent. The way he speaks and talks, it's with certain pauses in between, so you can have time to digest and sink this information, right? Take it deeper. And it's the eye contact, right? So it's like the information and every word just penetrates you. This is how you receive the activation or the memory of whatever I'm about to share. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but whatever. And it's a certain blueprint. So it's the structure. You speak and you breathe. You take a pause, because quite often you have no idea what you're going to say. That's why you need to have this pause in between. And then you hit the end point, which is the conclusion. And the conclusion here is to experience what you're talking about is to actually live it. Because if you don't know how does it feel in your body, whatever you're talking about, you can make a structure. But if you don't speak it through your body, then it doesn't have this depth. It goes deep. It activates your inner memory as if you lived it, as if you experienced it. Because if I lived it, if this is the story of my life and I'm sharing it with you in a very strategic, detailed way, you can just take it in and make it your own experience. And this is how we share. This is how we help each other to grow. And I feel like this is the beauty of code number 4. It means that you lived it. That's why you embody it with a structure, with direction, and with a pause.
I love it. You really channeled it. Wow. It was really amazing to watch.
Thank you, Father. That's, by the way, code 4 is the archetype of the father.
I love it because I think you just really shifted perspective for me on the father archetype and the structure, and something that I really personally resist, because I was told in high school that I think and write like a flower by one of my teachers, and these are these really fundamental, sentences that stay with you, and I'm really happy with it now. But I always thought, oh, maybe I am lacking the structure so that I can actually make myself heard and understood. But you talked about something really profound that I think is a big part of teaching, and that is really the embodied knowing and the experience when you're teaching, and the experiencing of being a student. So it's a really beautiful embodied situation, and it's a very emotional situation, and at the same time it's like, again, holding the tension of the opposites, right? It's this beautiful exploration, and it's focused at the same time. It's an experiment, but a very focused one. So I feel there's a lot of different energies in it, and so that was really beautiful for you exploring it and finding your version of it. And I think that's why I'm such a big fan of creating these inner codes, creating the inner parts, seeing things less literal and maybe more symbolic and more individual, what they mean for you, and using your creativity. So then you can build your own structure, and it's not this kind of archetype, or stereotype of structure or of the father, but it's a very specific father. It's the type of father that you need in order to embrace structure.
I would like to say thank you that you were part of this beautiful experiment. It's an experiment. And if there is something that I would like to share and invite people who are watching this podcast to think about, is that we all have a story to share. We're all unique. We're all one of the kind. We have all these codes, with some of them that want to be expressed a little bit more, and they want to be invited on the table and to be part of the story. And I would like to invite all of us to play, just to be out there, share the story. But as long as we are honest with each other, because we people, we feel the frequency. And even if we fuck up, but even if it's not perfect, it comes from the heart. And this podcast really comes from the heart. And this is a big one, and this is a very meaningful one to me. And I would like to invite other people to just claim their voice, claim their story, but also be responsible for what you say. But if you share from the heart, if it's not perfect, so be it, because it's so incredibly authentic. And I would like to invite you guys to go on my website. I have a video that I recorded that I love sharing with people, and it's a karmic numerology tool that helps us to calculate our personal cycle of the year of 2025, because this is extremely, extremely important. It will show us the direction, how to navigate ourselves when we leave this year. And every number has a certain theme. So I just invite you to check it out. our first podcast. Yay.
Yay,
We're going to do it
thank
again.
you for having me. This conversation was a real pleasure. I love talking to you about these things, and it was really inspiring. I'm taking code 5, the wild one, with me, and I will cultivate it.
That's
Thank you
yours.
for that.
Claim it. Claim it. So the highest peak of the mountain can hear it.
Thank you. So fun.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you next time. Let's do this again.
Let's do it again.
I love this.